In the late 1990s, the music industry was making billions of dollars by selling plastic discs. Then, a tiny digital file appeared. It was easy to copy, difficult to control, and small enough to travel across the early internet. Within a decade, it helped destroy the business model that had ruled music for generations. That file was the MP3. For most of the 20th century, music had physical weight: vinyl records, cassette tapes, compact discs. A song had to be manufactured, transported, placed on a store shelf, and sold as an object. By the 1990s, the major record labels controlled much of this system. If you wanted one hit song, you often had to buy the entire album. It was profitable, it was powerful, and it depended on one assumption: music had to remain physical. Inside a German research laboratory, a group of engineers was quietly working on a technology that would break that assumption forever. Welcome to the Tech Brief. Digital music files were too large. A 3-minute song stored on a compact disc could take up 30 or 40 megabytes. Today, that sounds small, but in the era of dial-up internet, downloading one song could take hours. The early internet could move text and small images, but music was too heavy. Enter Karlheinz Brandenburg and a team of engineers at the Fraunhofer Institute in Germany. Their challenge seemed impossible: shrink a song to around 1/10 of its original size without making it sound terrible. The answer came from human biology. Brandenburg and his team studied psychoacoustics, the science of how the human ear and brain perceive sound. They realized that human hearing is not perfect. If a loud sound and a quiet sound happen at the same time, the loud sound can hide the quiet one. This is called auditory masking. There are also frequencies that microphones can record, but most people cannot hear. The engineers saw an opportunity. What if a computer could identify the parts of a song that the human ear was unlikely to notice? What if it could remove them? The software searched for sounds hidden by louder sounds and removed data most listeners would never miss. The file was incomplete, but to the human ear, it still sounded like music. The MP3 did not compress sound by preserving everything. It compressed sound by understanding what the brain could afford to lose. One of the most important test songs was Suzanne Vega's Tom's Diner. The recording begins with a clear human voice and almost nothing to hide compression errors. Brandenburg listened to the song again and again, refining the algorithm until the voice still sounded natural after much of the original data had been removed. By the mid-1990s, a song that once required 30 megabytes could be reduced to around 3. That difference changed everything. As internet connections improved, music could finally move from one computer to another. But the music industry failed to understand what this meant. Record companies were still making enormous profits from compact discs. They believed people would continue paying for physical albums. They underestimated convenience, and they underestimated the internet. The MP3 became the perfect container for digital music, but it still needed a distribution system. In 1999, a 19-year-old college dropout named Sean Fanning released Napster. Napster created a searchable index of music files stored on users' computers. When someone searched for a song, Napster connected that person to another user who had the file. The MP3 could then be copied directly from one computer to another. The effect was immediate. College dorm rooms became digital music libraries. Entire albums could spread across the world without passing through a record store. Why pay $18 for an album when you only wanted 2 songs? The music industry panicked. Major labels and artists launched lawsuits against Napster. Legally, the record companies had a strong case, but culturally, they had already lost. Napster was shut down in 2001, yet closing Napster did not restore the old world. Other file-sharing services quickly took its place. The software changed, the behavior remained. Music piracy spread. Compact disc sales declined. The old business model began to collapse. But the MP3 did not kill music. It killed the assumption that music had to be sold as a physical object. The industry eventually found a path forward through better technology. Apple introduced the iPod. Then the iTunes Store offered legal digital music downloads for 99 cents a song. Apple did not defeat piracy by making copying impossible. It competed with piracy by making legal music more convenient. But even downloads were temporary. As internet connections became faster, songs no longer needed to remain on your device. They could be streamed whenever you wanted to hear them. Spotify and other streaming services transformed music again. The listener no longer needed to buy a disc. The listener no longer needed to download an MP3. The listener only needed access. The MP3 began as a way to make audio files smaller, but its real impact was much larger. Once a song became a file, it could be copied. Once it could be copied, ownership became difficult to control. And once streaming arrived, ownership became unnecessary. The MP3 did not kill the music industry. It killed the old music industry. A compression algorithm developed in a German laboratory did more than shrink a song. It changed what the world expected from music. No factory, no shelf, no physical object, just data moving at the speed of the internet. Subscribe to the Tech Brief for more cinematic deep dives into the hidden technologies and decisions that shape our modern reality. End of transmission.